Number 1. Council Catastrophe. Let's kick things off with perhaps the most embarrassing Jedi Council death in galactic history. Coleman Trebor was a male Verk Jedi Master who served as a member of the Jedi High Council before the Clone Wars. Now, being on the Council is supposed to mean you're among the elite of the elite, right? Well, Trebor's tenure was shorter than an Ewok's attention span. Picture this: Battle of Geonosis, the first major conflict of the Clone Wars. During the battle, Trebor infiltrated the stands and confronted the former Jedi Master Count Dooku on a balcony, aiming to put a swift end to the conflict before it could spread out of control. Sounds heroic, doesn't it? Here's where it gets awkward. The bounty hunter Jango Fett, who was standing next to Dooku, fired a quick salvo of blaster bolts at Trebor. Taken aback, Master Trebor deflected the first 2 shots from Fett's blaster, before a third struck him in the shoulder and then a fourth in his chest, knocking him over the balcony railing and sending him falling to his death on the arena floor. 4 shots. That's all it took. A Jedi Council member, supposedly one of the 12 wisest and most powerful Jedi in the entire order, got dropped faster than you can say unlimited power. Coleman Trebor was a skilled negotiator and diplomat who peacefully resolved a number of large disputes between some important worlds with great success. Unfortunately for him, Jango Fett wasn't interested in negotiating. Number 2. Panic Attack. Speaking of embarrassing deaths, let me introduce you to Sha'a Gi, whose entire appearance in Star Wars media can be summed up in 2 words: pure panic. Shown in the surprisingly great 2003 Clone Wars series, Sha'a Gi was not the bravest or smartest Jedi. That's putting it mildly. He was one of the Jedi who first encountered General Grievous, and when informed by the droid general that they were all about to be granted warriors' deaths, Sha'a Gi ran out to face him alone, foolishly forsaking the advantage the Jedi had in numbers. Let me paint you a picture. You're surrounded by fellow Jedi, facing an unknown enemy. The smart move: stick together, use teamwork, maybe form a defensive circle. Sha'a Gi's move: run screaming directly at the cyborg killing machine. Even more foolishly, Sha'a Gi was taken out by Grievous almost instantly, proving that he can't have been a great fighter either. The poor guy got crushed faster than hopes for a Death Star trench run without plot armor. Sha'a Gi's appearance and personality were based on Sha'a Gi from the Scooby-Doo franchise. A fitting choice for a Jedi who gave in to fear. Zoinks indeed. Sha'a Gi lacked force awareness, physical ability, and an enduring spirit, making him the weakest Jedi in the Star Wars franchise. When your claim to fame is being the Jedi who panicked hardest, you know you've hit rock bottom. Number 3. Seer failure. Now let's talk about Bala Ropal, a Rodian Jedi Master who literally had one job and failed spectacularly. Ropal acted as the keeper of the Kyber memory crystal during the war, a crystal which contained data on the identities of Force-sensitive children across the galaxy. This wasn't just any crystal. This was basically the Jedi's future recruitment database. Here's the kicker. Bala Ropal was, in the Clone Wars animated series, given a Kyber crystal which held information on Force-sensitive children from across the galaxy. Cad Bane is a notable and accomplished bounty hunter, but Bala Ropal, after admitting he wasn't strong with the Force or a strong warrior, still shouldn't have been an easy target for Cad Bane, because Bala Ropal could see the future. That's right, folks. The man could literally see the future, and he still got captured. While Ropal's Force vision should have helped him to anticipate any threats, he was unable to foresee Cad Bane coming for him. It's like having a weather app that tells you it's going to rain, and you still go outside without an umbrella and act surprised when you get soaked. Ropal refused despite being tortured by Bane's battle droids, sacrificing his own life to thwart the bounty hunter's plans. At least he died with his integrity intact, which is more than we can say for his precognitive abilities. Ready for more galactic fails? Hit that subscribe button and join the ranks of Force-sensitive viewers. Your midichlorian count increases with every video watched. Number 4. Liability. Let's check out the Jedi archives with Jocasta Nu, the librarian who makes your local library's late fee policy look lenient. Jocasta Nu may have been a powerful Jedi at one point in her life, but her appearances in Star Wars have not presented her in this manner. She was taken off guard and knocked unconscious in Star Wars: The Clone Wars, Season 2, Episode 1, Holocron Heist, and Darth Sidious once described her as barely competent with a lightsaber. When the Dark Lord of the Sith himself is throwing shade at your combat skills, you know you've got problems. But here's what really seals the deal on her weakness. Remember in Attack of the Clones when Obi-Wan couldn't find Kamino in the archives? In Attack of the Clones, when the Jedi archives were altered to conceive the location of the Kamino system, Jocasta arrogantly replied to Obi-Wan that if it was not there, it did not exist. That's like a Google employee saying, if it's not in our search results, it doesn't exist. The sheer arrogance. She failed not only to keep the archives from being adulterated, but also by not sensing something was very wrong. While she put up a fight before Darth Vader killed her in canon, Jocasta Nu was slain with no effort in the Star Wars Legends timeline, making her even weaker in that continuity. At least she tried to become one with the Force, emphasis on tried. Number 5. Speed deaths. Time to talk about the dynamic duo of disappointment, Saesee Tiin and Aaygan Kolar. These two Jedi Masters hold the galactic record for fastest death in a lightsaber duel against a Sith Lord. It's not a record you want to hold. When 4 Jedi Masters went to detain Emperor Palpatine, they were expecting violence from the Senator. These 4, all supposedly great warriors and attuned with the Force, didn't see the sudden attack from Palpatine coming whatsoever. To be fair, nobody expects the Spanish Inquisition or a geriatric politician to suddenly become a spinning ball of death. Aaygan Kolar was a Jedi Knight and reportedly skilled with a lightsaber, but he wasn't much help at all when Mace Windu took him and 3 other Jedi to arrest Chancellor Palpatine, who they just realized was the Sith Lord Darth Sidious. While the first master can almost be excused for the suddenness of the assault, Saesee Tiin was taken down with the backswing of the same first attack. Let that sink in. Saesee Tiin died to a backswing, not even the primary attack, the follow-through. Saesee Tiin was an Iktachi, the Jedi Knight with the horns curving down either side of his face. Said to be skilled with a lightsaber and a pilot, he'd fought in the Clone Wars as a general of the Grand Army. All those skills, all that experience, and he lasted about as long as a snowball on Mustafar. Number 6. Meditation. Mistake. Now we come to one of the most controversial weak Jedi, Sha'a Gi. It is difficult to put any Jedi Master who managed to survive the Clone Wars on a list of the weakest Jedi. However, Sha'a Gi presented a number of qualities that showcased her lack of wisdom and prowess as a Jedi Master. Here's what makes her inclusion so painful. She had the opportunity to uncover the secrets regarding Order 66 and failed to do so, missing obvious hints from her own clones. Imagine being handed the Death Star plans and using them as a coaster for your blue milk. That's basically what Sha'a Gi did with the information about Order 66. But wait, it gets worse. Additionally, Sha'a Gi chose to meditate on what to do when she was informed that Anakin was butchering the younglings in the Jedi Temple, rather than immediately intervene. When children are in danger, maybe, just maybe, meditation can wait. Instead of fighting during the siege of the Jedi Temple, he simply meditated until Vader arrived to kill. This was one of the most egregious actions ever taken by a Jedi, showing either huge indecisiveness or cowardice in the face of opposition. When your response to "the younglings are being slaughtered" is "let me think about this," you failed the most basic Jedi test, protecting the innocent. Number 7. Padawan Problems. Let's not forget about the younglings and Padawans who showed exceptional weakness, even by apprentice standards. Take Nox, for example. Nox was a Paladin, a Nautolan, and the apprentice to Jedi Master Halsey during the Clone Wars. When Deveron was invaded, and the Separatist battle droids attacked the Temple of Edith, he joined his master in defending it. They were successful, but only until Sith apprentice Savage Opress arrived on the scene. Now, Savage Opress was basically what would happen if you gave a Zabrak all the steroids in the galaxy and then made him really angry. Both died, but Nox's end was brutal and quick, suggesting he wasn't very strong with the Force to begin with. His master even warned him not to engage with Opress, knowing his essential weakness. When your own master's basically telling you, "sit this one out, champ, maybe listen?" But no, Nox had to try to be a hero. Spoiler alert, he wasn't. Number 8. Failure philosophy. What makes a Jedi truly weak isn't just their combat abilities or Force powers, it's their failure to embody what being a Jedi means. Each of these fallen Force users represents a different type of weakness that plagued the Jedi Order. Coleman Trebor showed us that diplomatic skills mean nothing if you can't sense danger right in front of you. Sha'a Gi demonstrated that fear leads to the dark side, or in his case, just leads to getting squished. Bala Ropal proved that even seeing the future doesn't help if you don't act on it. Jocasta Nu's arrogance blinded her to threats both external and internal. The speed-death duo of Tiin and Kolar showed that reputation means nothing when facing true power. Sha'a Gi's indecision cost lives that could have been saved. And poor Nox reminded us that enthusiasm without ability is a recipe for disaster. While every Jedi had to be Force-sensitive to be accepted as a candidate, not all Jedi were equally powerful, with some students struggling and others possessing a natural affinity. The Jedi Order's greatest weakness wasn't the Sith. It was their inability to adapt their training and expectations to account for members who simply weren't cut out for the challenges they'd face. May the Force be with you, because these Jedi sure needed it. Subscribe for more Star Wars deep dives, and remember, even the weakest Jedi is still cooler than most of us.